Hi, everybody. Welcome to Meaningful Monday. And today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Lisa Mcdonald. She owns Earthe Energy. It's a metaphysical store in Sparks, Nevada. And I'm super excited to have her. She has so many events. She's so supportive to the spiritual community in this area. And so I'm really pleased to introduce her, and that's Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here and chatting with y'all. Um, yeah, I'm a little nervous, I guess. Once the record button goes on, it's like a total different vibe.
It
That's
is.
funny.
It is. I know. I still have my nerves that come up for me too. So I get it 100%. So just to talk a little bit, so Lisa owns a store that has, and I'll let her talk more about it, but just generally speaking, she has crystals and stones and incense and sprays and candles and musical sacred tools, a lot of different things. I go in there and I get lost. I love going in there. It's a beautiful store, and she also offers so much more, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that. But before we kind of like proceeding where you are now as being a owner, and where you are now, like what led you to this journey, into the spiritual journey, or into wanting, where you had this epiphany of, I want to open a store and this is what I want to look like. So what led that for you?
Well, my whole career really has been in retail. I worked the grocery business for over 25 years. And then I also did department stores. And I was working, I'm also a crafty person. So I connected with, I was working at Wells Avenue Market at the time. It's now a Mexican market on Wells Avenue, but I was working there when it was Wells Avenue Market. And there was a lady up the street that had this shop, and she was uh, leasing out a space. And I had some crafty stuff that I was piling up, after giving to your relatives and friends, all of those things that you make, then you get a stockpile. So I connected them with her, and she started going to the Reno Psychic Fair. She had a booth there, and I had no concept of any spiritual, people, or I had no connection. But I did know retail, I did know crafts, and so I did a booth there. And that's really what started the whole thing. I got to see different things like, readers and healers. And I had no idea that world was even out there. It wasn't in my, I wasn't attracting it at the time. Until then, until I was really ready, until you're really ready to like um, be available for the information, it just keeps passing you by. So, and that was 2000, the year 2000, that I started that my journey basically. So it's been 20 years, and I started to get to know Laura, who owns the Reno Psychic Institute. And I was really attracted to a lot of things in her shop. Again, retail. Honestly, I wasn't really into her teaching at the time. I was more interested in the products, the rocks, very connected with the rocks, and other things that she had in the store. So I started part-time working at the shop. And that is really how I developed my knowledge. I don't really have any, it's been all experience. And that's really kind of how I work. I'm very eclectic in my philosophy, so I draw from all different ideas to create my own. And the rocks have always been a really strong synergy for me as far as energy work. and I want to say tools, and I do refer to crystals as tools in working with our manifesting, but to me, they're more personal. They actually, I mean, people will refer to them as stone people, or crystal people, and that's what I feel. So I feel like I'm a guardian here at the shop, and I'm just waiting for the right home for them. And that's one of my philosophies, that we don't own anything, but as long as they're in my care, I take the best care that I can. So I worked for Laura, and then I helped her open up the Crystal Cove in Midtown. And I was there for just a short period of time. And I do want to acknowledge the things that I learned from Laura as far as a businesswoman in the community, because honestly, they weren't a lot. And also there weren't a lot of spiritual shops, and there still could be way more, but there are starting to open up here and there. But I helped her, but I saw a different vision that I thought the shop should be. So I chose to break away from that, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to do the internet or go to fairs or have a storefront. And so it was about 6 months. I told myself, okay, don't rush it. Allow things to unfold, which is really hard for me because I am very impatient. When I want to do something, I want to do it like now. So patience has been one of my lessons in life this go around. But it did work out really nicely. I was driving down Rock Boulevard one day, and the building is right at a curve. And so I was going at the curve, and I just looked to the left quickly, and it said for lease. And it was in the same building as the herb lady. I'm like, and that just like hooked me. And it stayed in my mind. You know how, you get something in, that really is an attractant. And the next day I came back, checked out the sign to see what the building was like, and I called. And the landlord, it used to be a chiropractic office. So there were a few things that needed to be done, like I had to cut down a wall because originally there was this long hallway where the exam rooms were, and then there was filing. So I knocked down that wall, and he was okay with that. I did some painting. He gave me a month free to do all of this. So it worked smoothly. And I mean, I'm still at awe every single day that I come to work. Like, wow, this is just incredible. That this is, my shop for one. I had this vision, forever just to have a shop, what would I do with it? But, that it's really real, and it's prosperous, and it's really built on a community of people that are very supportive. I mean, it's my vision come true, really. So it's amazing.
Well,
Here we are.
the environment, once you go into the store, the environment in there, because you can tell, it's the epitome of earthy. It's friendly. You can just walk. The space has good juju to it. So, I picked up on that immediately when I went into your store. So, and I love how you talked about that. Nobody owns the stones. Nobody owns any of that. It's just about finding a new home for them and caring for them in the meantime. And that's such a beautiful thing. Yeah.
I truly believe that. Yeah. And I'm always thankful. Any rocks or crystals that come to the shop, I cleanse them first. I charge them with the sun, and I say, thank you for finding your way here. So they know that they're loved and, and appreciated here. Because that, when we start building our collection, whenever, you might find that you have so many, you've got them stored away somewhere, but they want to be out. They want to be a part of things. So if you can, have them out. Yeah.
That's the working with them, right? Yeah.
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 And yeah, looking at them as family. So yeah,
Yeah.
caring for them, cleansing them, loving them, and rotating them. Yeah, that's been so now we're in fall equinox was yesterday, and
Yes. Yes.
when you were sharing your story and talking about kind of that impatience, the first thing that came up for me is like here we are in fall equinox where it's really kind of releasing and letting go and opening doors and taking that restful period to invite in, what's next for us, and just like being, for me, I'm just going to speak for me personally. So in the process of COVID and having a lot of aspirations in the beginning of the year, which were basically kind of put on the shelf temporarily while we're going through, this pandemic. And so, in realizing, okay, creator, what's next? And being able to be patient and certainly do, I do my cards pretty regularly and kind of check in, which I really feel the cards for me are a message. It's sort of like I always used to say, and I still do actually, I wish creator would leave me a note next to the bed that said, Michelle, this is what I'd like you to do today, right? and
Right.
and that doesn't necessarily happen, but the closest thing that I can get to that is to, do divination cards of some
Mm.
sort, and usually it's an oracle card. And that's really the message for me and how I get to move forward, but kind of just backtracking to being patient. And I think that that's, certainly a valuable lesson for us right now and where we're at in the world for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, who would have thought that our lives would come to such a complete standstill and that we would be with ourselves more? When we're going to work and we're, cleaning the house and cooking and doing all the chores, we don't have time to really be quiet and still. Um, and so this has really given us time to do that. And I did appreciate we were down for like 2 months with closure. Um, and I took that time, and enjoyed it. I really tried to look at it positively, and that's I feel really important in life. Believe me, I've had my ups and downs, but if I can, as I have grown and gone on my path, I have visioned these challenges as ways to grow, not as bad luck or it's all, negative things. It's an opportunity for me to look at myself and to see what needs to be changed, because usually it's a pattern that just keeps coming up, and until you like look at it, it'll keep coming up.
When it comes up, it usually comes up to another level, right? They're like,
Yes.
okay, you've ignored me long enough. Let me just step it up a notch, right?
Yeah, you're just not hearing this, okay?
Uh,
Definitely.
so I want to talk about you have so you have made an offering that you would like to talk with the audience about crystals, about stones, and just, maybe what some stones would work really well for us in these present times, maybe for health, or for, for those who are, kind of alone and haven't reintegrated and had, human contact, or, just there are certain stones that can be our friends and be our companions, and especially during these times. And so, yeah, I'm gonna just hand that over to you because
Okay.
you're more
Okay.
guru with that. I'm new to stones. Actually, I've always had a few crystals. It hasn't been until about the last year that I've really delved into them and done my homework and research and really, really worked with them and charging them and spending that quality time with them. And I it can really become an addiction, actually.
Believe me, I know it can. That's how it kind of all started with me. It, that I do try to tell people when they come in the shop and they're just so excited. They want one of everything. And, that can really build up as far as financial costs. So I really do try to tell people to just take it slow and get to know your crystals. And the easiest way to do that is really to have them on you all the time. And I've chosen, I've got in my pocket right now, I've got 4 stones, or let's see. Well, I always carry 3 stones with me, no matter what. So I have shungite, and it is a fabulous stone. It has been on the market for a super long time, but as soon as I saw it, it was like I want it. So I've had this, and it's a stone of healing, of protection. It works well with balancing out the EMF frequencies from all of your electronics. It's been known you can use the crystal to make a water, and use that in many different ways in the bath, water your plants, consume it yourself. It's a great way, like if you wanted to get crystal energy within and also without, not without, but on the outside, gem water is a great way to do that. But you want to, again, do your research, because some stones are toxic. If they're toxic, you can make the water in an indirect way. So you can use any stone to make a gem water, because what it's all about is energy. So the water, the energy from the crystal imparts onto the water molecules, and then you energetically use that within your system. So crystals, all crystals have a high vibration, and they might have different levels, and that makeup is partially color can create a different vibration, and molecular structure, and family of stones. So like the quartz crystals, which most people know of, amethyst, clear quartz, citrine, they are one of the highest hardness and vibrational. So as you get lower, all the stuff, even though they might seem to have a lower vibration, they're still generally a higher vibration than ourselves. So they always are uplifting us. And when they uplift us, they give us the capacity to heal ourselves. And that's really what we're looking to do. So I have shungite with me. I have tiger's eye. Now, tiger's eye is one of my zodiac signs stones. So I have a great book by Judy Hall, and I think it's Crystal Zodiac Personalities. She breaks down, for anybody that is into astrology, she breaks it down into your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascending sign. Each have different, there's probably, 20 stones that resonate with each one of those things in different ways, like your personal life, your work life, those kind of things. And tiger's eye, I'm a Leo, so tiger's eye is a great stone. It's golden energy, and we're all about fire and that, so it's a great match. So that's my personal stone there. And then I have this smoky citrine quartz, and that is just another all-around. Citrine just covers a lot of bases: emotional, personal, and rooting, and spiritual. So I always have these, and then I have a dish by my usually by my bed. And when I get dressed, I'll look at the dish, and if there's another stone that wants to come with me for the day, then I bring it. And it could be something that I'll see down the line where I'm like, oh, that was very helpful for you to come. Today, I also chose I don't know if you can see it here. It's a lapis lazuli Merkaba. Now, the Merkaba is a pyramid within a pyramid. It's a great symbol about equality and balance. The lapis is a great intuitive stone, plus throat chakra and communication. So I thought today that would be helpful with the interview to have this stone. So it's with me today. And then I also have a pendulum. Now this is a metal pendulum, but I usually carry that with me. And when I have all different kinds of pendulums, and we sell them here at the shop. It's another way to get an affirmation on a question that I might have in my mind, and I'm just not quite sure of. I'll bring out my pendulum and ask it. Now, I think it's important when you're working with any tool that you develop a relationship with it. And I'm sure that there's many things that you use yourself in your practice that you are very personal to you. You always have whatever you're doing your work, and I think it's just a better connection so that you feel more comfortable. Let's say with the pendulum, I've worked with it enough that I feel comfortable with the answer. I feel like it's proven itself time in and time out that the answer that it gives me is correct. And when you're using a pendulum, it's really a connection with your higher self. And that, even in the 20 years that I've been doing this, it's still a work in progress, connecting with my higher self so that I can really hear and understand the messages that come. So this is one of the ways that I can do that. So that is one great way to really connect with stones. Have them on your person, wear it as a pendant, have some by let's say you're working on dream time, you might have some stones by your bed or your meditative space. You can have one in each hand as you meditate. And a great system in order to establish or understand what might be the right stone for you at that particular time or intention is actually through the chakras. If you do nothing else, understanding your own energy centers and how they pertain to you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, it's actually, once you get that system down, it's pretty easy to figure out what stones might be appropriate. So the third chakra, which is our solar plex, is our personal wisdom and power. Now, if we have digestive issues, that relates to that solar plex area, and the solar plex area is yellow. So a good stone to remedy that would be a yellow stone. So that's one of the systems. For instance, if you're finding yourself in a depression, that would be a low vibration and low energy. So you might want to get a stone that would bring up energy, and that would be like a red stone. Red is also the root chakra, which is grounding, but it's also very energetic. So you might get a garnet or a ruby. Or if you're finding yourself like anxious and you would like to calm down, then you might find a stone that is like a light blue or a pink that are calming in its essence. And this is actually scientifically proven that colors, can make a difference in our attitudes. So it's not all just woo-woo stuff. Yeah, there's actual some proof out there now. The science is actually, starting to catch up a little bit. And so by just applying the knowledge of the chakras, you can also get a system of what crystals to use. That is really the simplest and easiest way to work with stones, besides having a connection with your own personal ones. Yeah.
So if somebody was new to stones, what would be your recommendation for them? Like, let's just say they were to come into your store, or any store that offers stones and crystals. What would be the best way for them to kind of check in with themselves and kind of, do a little body scan and, say a little prayer, or, to talk to their higher self. And then when they come into the store, what for somebody who's like brand new, never, and they see this video, or somebody's given them, oh, you need to get this stone, or you need to do this, and they're like, I
Right.
don't know, and they go into a store, and the stores can be super overwhelming because there's so many, and they may or may not have the ability to really check in and get drawn to where they need to go. So, like, what are some tips of the trade that you give people that are very new to it that come in your store?
Well, interestingly enough, I recommend, I've got the Crystal Bible, which is a great beginner book because it kind of covers all energetic levels, emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. That's a great reference book. It's a classic. Some people might like the Book of Stones, which is similar, but I just have really been drawn and used the Crystal Bible. But to be honest with you, my first recommendation always is to walk the room and see what you're drawn to. And 99.9% of the time, it's an exact match to what you need. It's amazing. It's proven, time in and time out. And then I'll get out the Crystal Bible and I'll let them read about the stone, and I let people read their own information, because we all pick up on wherever we're at in our life, we pick up on the different information. So they're like, oh, that's why that's exactly what I need. But of course, I can recommend, and I've got even some charts out here that, if people are a little shy about asking, they can look at the charts and see what's recommended, and I can help that way too. Because honestly, we can go and I can show you several different stones that might be appropriate for that intention. But what happens is the person really may need something totally different than what I'm recommending. So that's why I always just have them walk the store, and it's the same like if you're going to buy for somebody else. When you do that, you want to come in and think of them and see what you are attracted to. So that's really, it's very intuitive. And then another great way to see if it's appropriate for you is to do the heart chakra test. It also could be like a muscle test. So you would take your whatever tool or stone, you take it up to your heart center, hold it, and then if you are drawn forward, that means that yes, it's a good match. If you fall backwards, then it's not right for you. Or if you don't feel any movement, then it's like, meh, maybe not, it's okay, but it's not really the best choice. So that's another easy way to do that.
And
And
that's
you can do that with anything.
yeah, with food, with vitamins, with yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great trick of the trade. You talked about pendulums, and I have a funny story about pendulums. So I had I still have it. It's an amethyst pendant, and it was always my go-to. I wore it day in and day out for years, and I always just used that pendant. It was just a crystal pendant, and I used that as my pendulum for years and years. And it was, I mean, we really had this strong connection. And I was in a store. I think I was in old Sacramento or something, and they have a really nice store there too. And so I went in there, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna pick out a new, like an official pendulum. And so I picked a beautiful rose quartz one out, and I started working with it, and it just magically, like, I didn't drop it. I went to get it, and I kept it in this little box, and I went to get it, and the tip had broken off. And I got to
Hmm.
tell you, like, in my mind, I was like, what did I do? And I was like grieving like it was someone that I had lost, right?
Right,
And
right.
yeah, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I obviously have to go back to my amethyst, because, I had that relationship with the amethyst, and it was so loud and clear to me that maybe the rose quartz, it wasn't a good idea or the right timing or what. I put so much energy into the flukiness of that tip of that pendulum falling off. I was devastated by it. I took it extremely personally,
Right.
like I lost a friend. And it wasn't until here recently, when I moved to Nevada, I went to a store in Virginia City, and I got drawn over to, they had a little tree with some pendulums on it, and normally my draw would be to go to like a quartz, and I didn't. And let me grab it real quick. It is the most awesome. Where is it? It is the most beautiful pendulum, and surprisingly enough, it has, I guess, the misnomer in my head is that the quartz crystal, like you said, might have a higher frequency or a higher vibration. And so I've always kind of drawn to those, especially in regards to pendulums and using them for divination. And this one is, let's see, do, do, do.
Is that labradorite?
I don't know. That's the magical question.
Ah,
I want to say it's Jasper.
oh, it could be it's hard to see.
No, let's see. There we go.
With the stripes, yeah, it could be a moss agate or a jasper.
Hmm. Yeah, it didn't.
It,
The
I don't
stone
know if
I
it,
didn't
I
know
don't know if it was
either.
the lighting.
The stone I didn't know, but this is such a powerful pendulum. I use it regularly in my sessions, and it just hones right in. That little spiral on the end is just so magical. I love this stone. And yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's obviously not that important for me to know what it is, because
Yeah.
I have a beautiful relationship with it, and it's a very powerful stone. And it surprised me because it wasn't, So again, I'm new to working with crystals and stones, and that one was a real surprise for me. How I just immediately, I picked it up and I asked it some questions, and it was like, here you go. I mean, it didn't hem haw around. It was like loud and clear, and I was like, okay, I'll pick you. I pick you. I'll pick me or something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not quite sure if that's how it works. If I pick it or it picks me.
yeah, right. Yeah.
You
So
know, I do want to also say that I don't subscribe to a lot of the you must do this, you must. I don't, I'm a little rebellish that way, and I don't follow rules. that I do what feels right for me. And I always like to tell people, because they'll come in and say, for instance, and I don't know what your philosophy is, but people come in and say, well, your first tarot deck needs to be gifted to you. Well, I don't know. But I don't hold that belief, and I say, it's if that feels like a strong belief for you, then follow that and wait for that moment. But in most cases, I just say, I feel like it's a real personal thing, and like your pendulum, I wouldn't want somebody really to choose a pendulum for me because it's a personal tool. But I feel also like if you're looking for information on a crystal that might work for a particular intention, and of course you get on the internet and you can go down the rabbit hole with all of the different information from different websites, and it's really what those are sometimes is a repeat of the same information over and over again, or it's people's opinion. So again, I always try to tell people to just follow what feels right and don't always hold what other people say as the gospel, because it's really the everything in my shop is about empowerment of yourself, because we all have the capacity to take care of ourselves, and not have to rely on other people to fulfill our needs. We can do it all ourselves, and we can complement it, with other ways, but we all have the power to do that. Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer too, as long as I'm making it sacred. And again, that's sacred for me and my understanding or lack thereof, whatever given day it is. And as long as my intentions are coming from a loving place and a place that for me is built with my connection to my higher source, then I can't go wrong with that. And so I can
I
take
I
what I
agree.
need and leave the rest when it comes to outside source information, because that's what I'm going to do ultimately anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you as humans. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, though. I appreciate that about you. And so, can we talk a little bit about what services? So, you have services that are available from different practitioners that come in. You have classes, workshops, meditations, events. There's a lot of stuff that you provide out of your store, which I love because you really embrace the spiritual community and offer them a safe place to provide services. And you have a plethora of them. And you do have a Facebook site for anybody that's watching. I'll make sure to put all her contact information in the comments below, and I'll have links to her Facebook site and her website also available on that. And you also have an art gallery, which I think I've been kind of tunnel visioned when I've come into the shop. I've noticed art, but I haven't really paid attention too much to that piece, which is strange because I'm an artist too. So, you know, I have looked at the jewelry art, and some of the tools and working arts because you have drums and things like that in there that I've paid close attention to. But yeah, the art gallery piece to it, the events, services, workshops, and so on. So I'll let you talk because I'm sure you can just talk that stuff off the top of your head.
Okay. Well, when I was developing a plan for the business, it's always been on the basis of having community involved. And I was thinking up some different ways, like we could do a co-op kind of thing, but ultimately it came down to that is a challenge in a business if you were to have like a dozen people co-oping. So you have to have one person kind of in charge, and then other people can join in. So I thought, okay, well, I will do this business. My business model will be one where I allow space either for gatherings or for other artists, because um, that was one of the things that I wanted to be a part of the shop. Because I'm a crafter and I've got stuff, I wanted to be able to also provide that for other people, because it's a real challenge. I know that there's other places out there that offer space for a crafter or an artist to put their work in. You know, it's either a consignment or they rent a space, and then they have to work in the shop, and it's a high rent, and it's really not affordable for someone that is more like a hobbyist, you know, or just beginning and starting a business. So um, it worked out beautifully in the shop, where all of those file records that were for the chiropractic, tons of bookcases. I thought, well, each artist could have a section and rent that space out. It's only $50 a month, and you have to make a 4-month commitment. And besides, and then you get 97% of your sales, because I keep 3% for credit card. But that can give a person the opportunity to figure out, you know, especially if you're just starting and you want to do something, is it really for you, or is it just a thought? You know, because once you get the whole thing about having a business is, I love the rocks and I have a collection, but it's also that whole business side that people don't really get into until they experience it, you know, and what are the things that it takes. You know, people can tell you all day long, but, you know, until you really get into it and see all the little things, the advertising and stuff like that, it could be a challenge. It may be not something that you want to go further with. So this is a great opportunity to experience that and see if that's what you want to do. And then I also devoted some of the rooms to healings and events. Now, before COVID, we had a full calendar going on, and we've started back up again slowly, but the space, each room really holds a facilitator and maybe 4 or 5 people, so not a big crowd, more intimate. And we'd started back, you know, when they originally opened everything up again, we started, but people still were just not quite ready to come out and be a part of that. But it's opening up a little bit more. People are either just tired of being, you know, by themselves, or, you know, ready to just get out back in the world. And we're starting to expand it again. And we do meditations. I have Reiki healers a couple times a week. I have a young lady that does crystal healings and color therapy. And then we do kind of weekly things where any time during the week I have a 4-foot pyramid here, 4-foot copper pyramid that you can meditate under if you'd like. It's the resonance of the copper and the angles of the pyramid are like the pyramids of Giza, and that particular ratio of angle and stuff creates this dynamic inside the pyramid that's really amazing, because you're very you can easily go into a meditation. See, that's the other thing. When I started and I was trying to figure out, I think I'm not very good at staying in a meditation. You know, my mind starts thinking about things. So when I have a guided meditation, it's fabulous. I can really get into it. That's just for me. I just need that. But I've also found out that when I'm doing my crafts, that is that's more of my meditative time. And so again, it doesn't have to be where you have to sit in a lotus position in the center of something with all these different things going on. You can have a meditative state in a lot of different ways. again, breaking all those barriers or rules is something I like to do. So I have that here. I also, throughout the week, capable of doing a crystal layout for crystal healing. And I also, throughout the week, offer a color therapy, which is you beam a specific color onto your bare skin, because that's one of the ways that we can absorb color energy. And my philosophy on things that are in the physical is that they start in our aura or our other bodies. So you might have a trauma or something, an experience in your mental body. Somebody says something mean to you, and if you don't address it, it can then come closer into your physical body and eventually come out in a physical illness or ailment. That's my own belief. So if you can balance out and address these kind of things where it originates, then you can release that energy and it doesn't get into the physical. So that's one of the other things about crystals too, is they can help balance out all of that for you. So we've got things on, I'm in a meetup group. I have a meetup group called Creatively Spirited. If you're not on Facebook, we started that because not everybody is on Facebook. And the Creatively Spirited website, they all have, that has a bio of the different healers here and services that they offer. We have Aaron doing tarot classes, teaching people how to develop their skill in tarot readings. He also does readings. We have an astrologer that can do birth charts and stuff like that. And we have Diane, who you've had on your show before. She has an office here, and she does numerology. So we have in most cases, we have it all covered here. And then also my neighbor, the herb lady, also has medicinal herbs. I have ceremonial herbs here at the shop too. So there's quite a variety between this building right here. We can probably find help for whatever you're looking for, really. So.
Which is the best of both worlds. I mean, that whole drawing, like in your story, when you passed by and you saw the herb lady store, it was like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, it's really, we've complement each other wonderfully. Yeah. If you can't find it here, you can go over there, or if you can't find it there, you come over here. So,
right.
Yeah, Elaine's great.
That's awesome. I know I need to get her on my show. You'll have to give me some of her information.
I would love to. Oh, she's great. She's got so much knowledge about so many things. Yeah.
So, in closing, I have my one question that I like to ask everybody, and that is, what is your favorite quote and why?
Well, I printed mine out, and I will read it because it is a little long. It is actually something that is from Nancy Anderson, an artist, and it just really spoke to me. I don't know if I can read it. I'll have to read it and then I will show it on screen. But it is, excuse me, life is like a camera. Just focus on what's important and capture the good times. Develop from the negatives, and if things don't work out, just take another shot.
That's beautiful.
See if I can get it on there.
And the author of that again was Nancy
Anderson.
Nancy Anderson. Nice. Very nice.
And when I saw that, I was like, it just covers it all.
It does. It definitely does. So,
yeah.
Now,
okay. I would like to also just share with you something personal. We have chatted, and I have told you I just celebrated my 33rd birthday as a recovering alcoholic, and it's been an amazing journey. Um, I had that pivotal moment of clarity, and started going to AA and also a therapist, because I felt like, well, I did everything wrong that very first year. Um, I got in a relationship. It was all social. I did, but it's what I needed to experience. And then I started realizing that I wanted to get into the steps. I wanted to better myself. And so, I started going to women only meetings. I got a really good sponsor, and I started working the steps. And then I did personal counseling, which I really recommend finding someone that you can really discuss some of those issues. I mean, your sponsor can relate, but I think a therapist, someone that you can talk to professionally that doesn't have any inside connection with you, is really important, so they can give you a lot of good perspective. And so since that, journey, and where I'm at today, I've been working on myself a lot, and but it's been worth it, so that I'm at a point right now where I do understand that these challenges that we have in our life are really not bad things. They're lessons to learn. They don't feel like it always when we're like in the middle of them, um, but they don't last. And if you find that you're in a dark spot, then reach out and ask somebody for help. Don't stay there long, because before I uh, quit drinking, there were a lot of dark days, and it felt like there was no way out. But I did have the opportunity to see a better life and follow that. So I just want to say to everybody, just don't do it yourself. That's why community is so important. And like the things that you do personally and also with your circles, I think that's wonderful, that connection is really what we all need. And I think we've been missing it these last couple months. So even, I mean, we've adapted and we're doing Zoom and stuff like that, but I still, you don't get that. I don't feel that quite that same energy as I do when I'm in person with people. So don't do it yourself. There's a lot of help out there. Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
that's such a valuable piece right now. I know that me and a lot of my friends in the recovery community have talked, yeah, about our experience when we first got into recovery and being embraced by the rooms and having that love and the vibration of humans in a room. And right now, um, some of the challenges that people are being faced right now, trying to get back into recovery, and not having, it's really hard to recreate the vibration on technology. And even though there's such a blessing that we have technology, there's nothing like a hug, right? There's
Right.
nothing
Yeah.
like a hug. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm really
agree.
looking forward to the time where we have a level of safety to be able to do that with one another again. And yeah, so thank you so much for sharing and exposing some of that stuff to us here today. And congratulations on 33 years. It's a
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful thing. It's not an easy task, and what a great power number. So
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely a power number. So, is there any events that you feel like you'd like to share with us that are upcoming before we close out? Anything that's
Well, we're actually, I would just put out actually into the community. we have in the past we've been doing full moon drumming circles and or new moon, and we'd like to find a space where we can accommodate people, more than 4 people. So if anybody has any idea of opportunities, please let me know, because we'd like to go forward with that. A lot of people are wanting to get back, and now you can gather 50 people or more or less. That would be a when prior to COVID, we had 25 to 30 people that were coming to the drumming circle. So we're looking for something to accommodate that, and because it's getting, we could go to a park, but it's getting colder now, so, and darker sooner, so we're looking for that. And Diane is going to be doing the medicine wheel, and that's a year-long program there. And that is all about self-discovery and looking at all possibilities. And Matthew Embry. He does meditation here, and he's expanding his meditations to more an advanced class. So that's going forward. Besides that, if we can find a space where we'll do something for winter solstice, but don't really have anything. Again, it's, I'd love to put in the energy into it, but I just don't know if people will show up. That's the whole thing. So we're just going with the flow.
I agree. So that's really good. So anybody that's watching that is from the northern Nevada area, and you have some leads on a big enough space to be able to have an indoor drum circle, that would be great. If you could reach out to Lisa, that would be awesome. And I am super grateful that I got to spend my morning with you. And anybody that I cannot say enough the energy of the store. So you got to check it out for yourself. For those of you who are my Sacramento, California peeps, when you come up here, definitely check them out. They need to be a spot for you to pop in, especially my crystal stone loving friends. They have a lot of different things, but a wide variety of stones, and the energy's really good. And Lisa's always there. You can pop in and say hi. And so thank you so much for spending your
Thank you. Lovely morning. I appreciate it.
Yay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.